Hi everybody, my name is Jackie and I'm the creator of midlifenursing.com. This is a very relaxed style video. I don't have a studio set up. I have a nice camera. I'm not using it. I'm using my iPhone because if I don't just do this video, it's never going to happen. I've been putting it off forever, but I want to get my channel started because I feel like I have a lot of good knowledge to share about my experience. So I am currently a BSN student in Texas, and I have completed my first year of nursing school. And I completed both semesters with a 4.0 GPA. I got an A on every single one of my nursing exams. I don't say that to brag at all. It shocks me because I was never a good student. In high school, I think I graduated with like a 3.2. I did not do well my first years in college. I had no direction whatsoever. I have tons of W's on my transcripts. I have a couple C's in nursing class, like pre-nursing classes to get into the program, and I've still been able to do so well. So I just wanted to share my tips for, getting a 4.0 in nursing school, and if nothing else, like to pass, like to for sure pass your classes. So let's get on into it. Number one, I'm going to start off with, and I'm sorry if this comes across really cheesy, but a positive attitude. Like really, so I'm in my 30s, and when my first day of nursing school came around, like I felt like I just had to pinch myself. Like I had dreamt about this for so many years. I was just so excited to be there. I was so nervous too because, I joined some Facebook groups and everybody was like stressed and people were not passing. And I was just like, oh my God, this is going to be like almost impossible. But I tried not to like go into it that day. I like had to pinch myself. Like I did it. I'm here. I'm in nursing school. I got a spot. So many people applied for it and they gave it to me. So I'm going to do this thing right. So my second tip is to do this like immediately after your first classes. And that is to set up where you're going to study. Do you have an office? Do you have a dorm with a desk? Do you have a table in your house? Like, where are you going to study and set up home for the semester? And make sure you study in that spot. And you need to be able to tape up your syllabus. I printed out every single, not your whole syllabus, but, at least in my school, the teachers provide like a calendar, like a course calendar of like, this week is when we're doing this, and this week is when this is due, and this week is when, exam 1 is, or whatever. Print all of them out and tape them in front of your face. For me, it's my desk in my office. I have like a hutch desk and I just taped it right on that hutch. My computer's right there, and I was looking at my course calendar every single week, crossing it off, looking ahead, seeing, what's coming up. Oh, exam 2 is 2 weeks away. Like you never want things to sneak up on you. Number 3, form a study group. Like I mentioned, I'm in my 30s. I was afraid that I wasn't going to, be able to make friends. I'm like a little bit older, but and the first few days are hard. Nobody knows each other, or some people did a lot of prerequisite courses together, so they kind of stick together. But, in the next few weeks, you'd be surprised how many friends you're going to make as long as you put yourself out there. Try not to be shy. You are going to be with these people for 2 years. Like, spend a lot of time. You're going to make great friends. So, you want people though in your corner because you want to be able to ask questions. So we started a group me, some of my friends, and we would jump in there and be like, hey, what did the teacher say about, sorry, I have little chickens in the background, a whole other story. But like we'd jump in there and we'd be like, hey, what did Miss so-and-so say about blah, blah, blah? And be like, oh yeah. And like sometimes it'd be like, hey, don't forget this. We'd send each other reminders, and I'd be like, oh my God, I totally forgot about that, so thank you. So study group, friends, super helpful. Number 4, this is also going to sound kind of cheesy, but fake it till you make it. Like I said, I did not have a background of being a strong student. I've never been a straight A student in my entire life. So I didn't even like know what that looked like. So I acted how I thought a straight A student might act, if that makes sense. So that kind of leads me into these specific habits and things that I did and didn't do anymore. So number 1, stop watching Netflix. Some of my classmates laugh because it's like my rule. I'm like, I am not going to watch a show and get into a show when I am in nursing school, because I know myself. I will watch. If I like the show, like, I will watch it until it's gone. And there's just not that time to waste in nursing school. There's just not. Unless you want to not do well in your classes, honestly. Like, you need to use your time wisely. So save all your shows. You know, like Euphoria was a big show when I started, and everyone was watching it, and I knew like it sounded like a show that I would like to watch, and so I just made a little list of shows I was excited to watch with the first semester break, or you know, summer break. For me it was winter break. I was able to watch stuff, and then now I'm on summer break, and now I'm caught up on a lot of things, and it felt good to be like watching stuff and like I earned this break instead of I'm putting things off to watch this show. So for studying, you do not want to read notes. When I started taking exams, I was getting A's, and a lot of people in my class were not passing the first exams. And so I asked them, like, what are you doing to study? And they asked me what I was doing to study. And so I had done research before starting the program into the active recall method, and I'll put a link below that video that teaches on that. So I knew going in that I was going to be making flashcards and like recalling information from memory. But I learned a lot of my friends were writing notes, like writing over and over notes, like reading their notes in class, and then thinking that that would stick. And unfortunately for like 99%, it did not. So I do not recommend reading notes to study. It's fine to write notes in a class. I do think that can help kind of imprint important information, but it's not the best way to study for exams. Another one is YouTube. Utilize YouTube early on. A lot of people, like in school, like were letting their grades slip before going into other resources to make sure they understood this information. Nursing school is like very similar for everyone across the nation. We're all going to be taking the same NCLEX exam to get our license. So nursing schools like have to teach certain things, and some teach, you know, extra things, but for my experience in exams is that the information is pretty like what you'll need to know for NCLEX and HESI or ATI, you know, whatever your school does. And I'll do a whole video on that if you don't know what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of nursing resources because the school is not so set up individually, if that makes sense. We gotta all take an NCLEX standardized exam. So YouTube is a great resource because you have these awesome channels who they know what's going to be on your exams for the most part. They know what's going to be on the NCLEX for the most part. And so they make sure you know that stuff. And guess what? If you know the basics and the foundations of nursing content, you are going to do very well. Practice tests. I take a ton of practice tests, and that was also something a lot of my peers were not doing that I was doing, and giving me awesome results and them, you know, not having the results they wanted. So I've told people over and over, If you have access to practice banks, or Saunders is a great resource. Registered Nurse RN, she has practice quizzes. Your textbooks should have practice tests. You can join a site like Simple Nursing. I have a membership with him. He has an awesome quiz bank. Like there's free ones online. Like take practice tests, because nursing school is all tests. Like they don't care about essays, they don't care about homework sheets to turn in. It's can you pass the test, because again, we have to take an NCLEX to get our license. So get really good at taking tests. The best way to do that is at home, instead of trying to get good at it like in the test. You don't want that. So I hope that makes sense. And then I'm just kind of going back to, this is kind of goes with active recall, but flashcards. So I use Quizlet. I took my teacher's PowerPoints, copy and pasted, the key information into a Quizlet. I took out a keyword that I wanted to know, like on the back of my hand, and I took it out, and I put in parentheses blank, and then I put that on the opposite side of the card. So I'd be reading, in paragraph style, important concepts, but there was blank. I'd sometimes do 2 or 3. Like I needed to know what those blank words were. I've had awesome success doing that, and I will link below one of my Quizlets I've made. So another big thing is, so I'm in my 30s, and I think it's kind of an advantage that I don't have, the social life that, someone in their 20s has. Like I'm married, I have a child, I'm not out there dating, I'm not, hanging out with friends. I've done that in my life, and now I have a family, and so weekends are kind of chill for me. So I really recommend, if you do want to maintain somewhat of a social life, and even if you don't, use your weekdays. I know you're tired. I know it's been a long day of class, a long day of clinical, but you are going to thank yourself on the weekends that you can just focus on studying for an exam that's maybe coming up on Monday, instead of trying to get a bunch of other things done. So what I mean by that is, I used my weekdays to start building my Quizlets. I used my weekdays to start taking practice tests, to start watching YouTube videos on things that I didn't know. I did not save it for the weekends, and you definitely do not save it the weekend before an exam, unless you want to spend the whole weekend crying and having a panic attack that you don't have enough time to learn all this. Use your weeknights to the best of your ability. Another big thing that a lot of people sleep on, and as long as this is allowed in your program, record your teacher's lectures. So what I did was I do my Quizlets, I've studied my Quizlets, I feel like I know this information super well, and then like the day before the exam, I'm listening to my teacher's lectures again, because once you know what they're talking about like really well, you're able to pick out the things that they're clearly stressing to you. Some teachers will say, know this for an exam. So like you're picking up on that stuff again. So you're making sure you know everything. And this is the last little thing. It's kind of a funny thing, but this has actually been proven by science, and Simple Nursing has a video on it. The day of an exam, eat eggs. So there's something in the yolk, I think it's the choline or something. It's really good for your brain. It's going to help your brain, run really sharp in an exam. And also dark chocolate. So I would do that. I would, a lot of my exams were in the morning, so I would make sure I eat. I had like a couple scrambled eggs and some toast, and then on my way I'd eat my dark chocolate. I don't know if it really made the difference. I highly doubt it's what gave me A's, but when I was taking the exam, I wasn't hungry, I didn't feel tired. I did feel very focused, so that is a tip. So those are my tips to do really well in nursing school from a 4.0 student. Like I said, I never was a 4.0 student. I had to learn how to be I had to learn how to be fast, especially because I was going into nursing school. And my initial goal was not even to be a 4.0 nursing student. My goal was to pass because I was so afraid that this was going to be like the hardest material in the world just from what I'd seen. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that it's very doable. Yeah, it is hard, but as long as you put the work in, you're going to do really well. And now I'm like, my goal is to maintain my 4.0s because, you know, if you want to go into a master's program when you graduate, if you want to be a CRNA, they're highly competitive programs. And maybe you don't want that right now, but, you know, future you in 2, 3, 5, 8 years, whatever, might want to. So it would be very nice to have really good grades in nursing school on your transcript. So if you like this content, please like and subscribe. I plan on doing way more tips, tricks, study tips, things I think you need to know for certain really important exams, some lifestyle content from a 30-something-year-old nursing student, all that good stuff. So if you made it this far, thank you so much, and I look forward to making more videos for you. Okay, bye guys.